Well. Look who crawled out of the cosmic glitch today. Hey you, the anomaly in sneakers. Sit down or stand, whatever your species does. We need to talk. Because right now, everyone's staring at you like you just ripped a hole in the normal world and stepped through it with that confused little smirk you do. They're acting like you're some bug in their software. Some forbidden update nobody approved. And, the funny part is you're pretending you don't notice. Like you didn't feel every damn eyeball lock onto you the second you breathed wrong. But you did. Of course you did. Because you know you did some "no human should do this" type shit. You know you just dropped something on them that rewired their whole understanding of what's possible. You know you just made the average people uncomfortable, and you felt good about it in a way you won't admit out loud. Let's get something straight. Anomaly. You didn't accidentally shock them. You didn't slip up. You didn't go too far. You finally did what you were always capable of, and the room wasn't ready for it. They're staring because you stepped outside their tiny-ass expectations. You broke the perimeter they built around your potential. They're sitting there whispering like, "Bro, did you see that? Humans don't do that shit." And, you're right. You're not humans. Not in the way they define it. You've always had a little too much voltage in your bloodstream, a little too much intensity in your eyes. A little too much silence that makes people wonder what else you're hiding. You know what cracks me up? They think they caught you in some supernatural act. But this wasn't even your final form. This was you on low battery. This was you half asleep. This was you warming up. And they still can't handle it. They're trying to decode you like you're some extraterrestrial file. They're thinking, "Bro, what kind of creature pulls that shit off like it's casual?" That's the best part. You didn't even try to impress them. You just existed, authentically, and that alone broke the atmosphere. See, people love talent until it stops looking pretty. People love confidence until it stops being soft. People love growth until it grows past their comfort zone. You walked past their comfort zone and didn't even say sorry. That's what they're staring at. Not the act, but the attitude behind it. The way you carry yourself like you finally understand that your power isn't something to hide, but something to unleash. You didn't do something inhuman. You just did something they would never have the guts to do. And, let's be real. They're jealous, scared, impressed, hungry, threatened, confused. All of that at once. It's hilarious. You're walking proof of everything they wish they were, but never committed to becoming. You're a mirror that exposes their excuses. You're a reminder that they settled for comfortable while you decided to step into chaos and call it home. They don't hate you. They hate that you showed them their limits. You make them feel small, not because you try to, but because your existence shines a light on how little they've done with theirs. You think this paranoia in the room is new? Nah, it's just louder now. People have always sensed something off about you, something sharp, something volatile, something that doesn't fit neatly inside the lines they drew for everyone else. You're the one people watch when you walk into a space. Not because you talk the loudest, but because you distort the air without lifting a finger. And, the moment you finally did something bold enough for them to see what they've always felt, boom, their brains short-circuited. Let them stare, let them panic, let them gasp like they just witnessed a glitch in the universe. Because deep down, you already know the truth about yourself. You're not here to blend in. You're not here to soothe anybody's insecurities. You're not here to act human just to make them feel safe. You're here to break patterns, to confuse the predictable, to disrupt the comfortable, to remind the world that some people aren't built for mediocrity. Some people are built for disruption. And every time you act on that part of yourself, the world around you shakes. And the people inside it stare like they've seen something they're not supposed to understand. Because they have. And you can feel that tension buzzing under your skin, right? That weird electricity in the air, like everyone's waiting for you to slip or speak or breathe wrong because they're trying to figure out if what they saw was a fluke or if that's just you. They're staring like you're a walking plot twist, like you're the part of the movie nobody warned them about, like they're low-key afraid you might do something else that bends the rules of whatever boring little reality they're clinging to. And you can hear the whispers even when nobody's talking. That's the wild part. You can feel people thinking about you. You can feel the way their eyes follow you, even when you're pretending to scroll your phone. You can feel that, what the hell is he? Energy drifting through the room like smoke. Because you didn't just surprise them, you exposed something they didn't want to admit. You're the kind of person who acts without waiting for permission. You're the kind of person who does eshait that shakes people awake. You're the kind of person who makes the whole environment glitch for a second. And they hate that they don't have a definition for someone like you. People love categories, neat little boxes, labels they can slap on others to feel like they're in control. But you cracked their labels open like cheap plastic. You walked in with that energy that says, "Don't try to measure me, you'll break your ruler." It's funny watching them pretend they're not intimidated. You see it, though. The jaw clenching, the fake smile, the sudden change in tone like they're trying to talk to you carefully, as if you're holding some invisible button that could flip the whole vibe. They act like you're unpredictable, but that's only because they've never seen someone who's in tune with their own power. You're not unpredictable. You're intentional. And people who aren't intentional get scared when they see someone who is. You moved a certain way, made a certain choice, took a certain step, and the way you did it said everything they didn't want to hear. That you're done shrinking, that you're done dimming your energy, that you're finally moving like the version of yourself you used to keep locked away because you didn't want to freak anyone out. But you freaked them out anyway, even at half strength, even while hesitating, even while saying, and pretending you're figuring things out as you go. They felt something real in the way you acted, something sharp, something raw, something that doesn't belong to someone who's trying to be liked or accepted or understood. And that's what's messing with them. You're not performing for them anymore. You're not explaining yourself. You're not shrinking your edges to make them comfortable. You're not asking whether you're allowed to be that powerful. You just were. Effortlessly, naturally, accidentally even. And it scrambled their entire nervous system. You ever notice how people stare the hardest at the thing they can't control? That's you right now. You're the variable they can't predict, the move they didn't anticipate, the shift they didn't plan for. And it's kinda hilarious watching them try to reframe their entire perception of you in real time. Like, one moment they had you figured out, nice little template, easy to manage, and then, bam, you go and do some "no human should be able to do that" type shit. and now they're squinting like their whole worldview just got a virus. They're running mental diagnostics on you like, bro, is he even built like us? Trying to find evidence that you're normal, that you still fit into their expectations, that they didn't just witness something they can't explain at a dinner table later. Meanwhile, you're standing there with that calm, borderline bored expression, because deep down, you've always known this part of you existed. You've always known there was something in you that doesn't play by the same rules. Something heavy, something disruptive, something that doesn't wait for applause or permission slips. And everything is shifting around you. The energy, the weight of the room, the silent assumptions people had about you, all melting down because of one moment where you let the real version of yourself slip through the cracks. And, you can feel it, right? That new awareness settling on you like a spotlight you didn't ask for, but somehow feels accurate. Like you're finally being seen in a way that has nothing to do with validation and everything to do with the truth that's been sitting in your chest for years. You're not trying to be extraordinary. You're realizing you already are. And they're not staring because they're confused. They're staring because your existence just forced them to rethink what's possible, what's believable, what a human can be, all because you acted from a place they don't even know how to reach. And, you can almost feel them recalibrating around you, right? Like they're trying to update their internal software to handle whatever the hell you just revealed. It's wild. People act like they want to see greatness up close. But the second it's in the room, they start glitching like their brains weren't built for that level of intensity. And you're just standing there, breathing regular air, existing in your regular body, but somehow it feels like you're carrying this gravity that pulls the whole environment into a different shape. You didn't even raise your voice. You didn't have to. Your presence did the talking before you opened your mouth. They're still staring because they're trying to figure out the why. Why you moved that way. Why you reacted like someone who's seen things they haven't. Why you looked unfazed when everyone else froze. Why your instincts kicked in like you've been sharpened by something they can't name. And, that's the part that keeps eating at them. That sense that you're operating on a frequency they can't tune into. Not higher, not lower, just different. Like you've got access to some internal switch they've never found in themselves. They're analyzing every detail now, the way you tilt your head, the pauses you take, the silence you hold without getting nervous. People who don't understand themselves get uncomfortable around someone who does. People who don't trust their own instincts get spooked by someone who follows theirs without hesitation. You can tell they're intimidated because their behavior gets weird. Their tone changes, their laugh gets shaky, their eyes flicker like they're trying to look at you without really looking at you. They're studying you sideways, as if staring directly might unlock something they aren't ready to deal with. And, there's that part of you that's tempted to shrink again, blend in, dial it back, pretend you don't notice the tension sticking to you like static electricity. But you can't. Not anymore. Not after everything you've learned about yourself. You're realizing how long you've been hiding pieces of yourself just to keep the peace. You're realizing how often you've dimmed your reaction, your voice, your instincts, your talent, your edge, just to avoid moments exactly like this. Moments where everyone stares like you broke the rules of the universe. But, this time feels different, doesn't it? This time, it doesn't feel embarrassing or overwhelming. This time it feels right. like their shock is just confirmation of something you've been trying not to accept. You're not built like them. You never were. You make moves from a place that most people never tap into because they're terrified of what happens when they stop pretending to be average. You acted from instinct, pure, unfiltered instinct, and it came out looking like something no human should be able to do. And that scares the shot out of them, because they know it wasn't luck. They know it wasn't random. They know it wasn't a mistake. They know that if you did that once, even half distracted, even doubting yourself, even saying, halfway through your own thought, then you can do it again and again and again, whenever you feel like it. You're realizing that the version of you they thought they could predict is long gone. You stepped into something heavier, sharper, more aware, more dangerous in the best way. And you can feel that energy settling into your bones, that sense of, I'm not hiding this anymore, that quiet understanding that your presence isn't supposed to be comfortable for everyone. Your presence is supposed to shift people. Your presence is supposed to expose things. Your presence is supposed to make the room rethink its own rules. You can see it in their faces. You've crossed into a place where people stop looking at you as one of them and start looking at you as something they need to figure out, something they can't ignore, something they can't label, something they can't downgrade into normal, no matter how hard they try. And whether they admit it or not, they're waiting to see what you do next, because whatever you just did wasn't an accident and the whole room can feel it. And it's almost funny watching them act like they're going back to normal. But you can tell they're not. You can feel the whole atmosphere still tilted, like the room itself hasn't recovered from whatever you unleashed. People keep pretending they're focused on their phone, pretending they're having some deep conversation, pretending they're not replaying the exact moment you shifted the entire energy in front of them. But their eyes keep flicking back toward you. Their body language keeps giving them away. Their silence keeps stretching just a little too long. They're rattled, like someone shook their internal snow globe and all the pieces are still falling. And you can see it, not just in their faces, but in the way they're whispering with that scared, excited tone people get when they think they witnessed something they shouldn't have seen. They're studying you without knowing they're studying you. They're measuring you without knowing they're measuring you. They're rethinking every old assumption they had about who you were. You can almost hear their thoughts scraping around. Was that a fluke? Is that the real him? Has he been holding back? Bro, what else is he capable of? And the crazy part is, they're asking questions you don't even fully know the answers to yet. You're still discovering yourself, still peeling back layers, still figuring out what parts of you were instincts and what parts were evolution. But you felt it, didn't you? That moment where you acted without overthinking, without doubting, without shrinking. It was like something deeper than confidence took over, something raw, something that felt ancient and familiar, even though you've barely tapped into it. It wasn't some random surge. It was something waking up in you, something stretching its limbs after being asleep way too long. People sense that before you even try to explain it. They feel when someone is stepping into a version of themselves they can't predict or control. And that's why they're staring like you're some rumor that suddenly became real. You're moving like someone who's not afraid of their own potential anymore. And that freaks people out more than anything. Not the action, not the moment, not the surprise. What freaks them out is the realization that you didn't hesitate. You didn't second guess. You didn't break. You moved like you knew exactly what you were doing, even if you didn't. That's the part that lodged itself under their skin. You ever watch people act normal after something life-altering happens? That's what's happening right now. They're trying to drag the room back to the version of reality they're comfortable with, but the moment you stepped into your power, that old reality cracked a little. They can't unsee it. They can't unfeel it. They can't go back to thinking you're predictable because you just showed them you're not. You're walking around like a glitch wrapped in skin, like someone who just unlocked a part of themselves that gives off a different kind of heat, a different kind of silence, a different kind of presence. And, that's the thing. They can sense the shift even if they don't have the language for it. They can tell that you're not operating from fear or insecurity or hesitation anymore. You're operating from something stronger, heavier, sharper, something that makes people instinctively straighten their posture when you walk by, something that makes them overthink their words around you, something that makes them feel like they're standing in front of someone who doesn't need their approval to exist. You can feel it too. That awareness sinking deeper into your bones. That pull in your chest like you're aligning with a part of yourself you kept buried under other people's expectations. And, the air keeps shifting around you because the world is reacting to your authenticity in real time, and half the people watching don't even understand why they're intimidated. They just know you're not the same person they thought you were, and you're not going back to that version either. And, you can feel how the whole room keeps adjusting itself around you. Like every second, they're recalculating who they thought you were versus who they're seeing right now. It's almost eerie, the way their energy keeps flickering. One moment curious, next moment nervous, next moment intimidated, like you pressed some hidden switch in their subconscious without even realizing it. You didn't shout, you didn't brag, you didn't walk in with some loud, dramatic entrance. You just existed differently. And that was enough to scramble their whole internal compass. People underestimate how powerful quiet evolution is. They think transformation should be loud, should be announced, should come with fireworks and motivational background music. But, the real shift, the real no human should do this, ishti. It always happens in silence first. You move a different way, you react a different way. You make a choice that the old version of you would have overthought for hours. You let your instinct lead instead of your fear. And suddenly, the room feels smaller, tighter, like everyone else is breathing heavier while you're breathing easier. That's the part they can't process. You're calm. Calm in a moment that would have rattled anybody else. Calm in a situation that should have broken you. Calm in a way that feels unnatural to people who only know panic disguised as productivity. And you can see it in the way they look at you. Your calm scares them more than your power does. Because calm means mastery. Calm means control. Calm means you're not reacting to the room. The room is reacting to you. They keep trying to place your reaction next to the version of you they had stored in their memory, and none of it matches anymore. It's like watching someone flip through a mental photo album and realizing every picture is outdated. You ever notice how people squint a little when their brain glitches? Yeah, that's what they're doing right now. Trying to line up the old image of you with what they just witnessed, and the pieces don't fit. The funniest part is that even you didn't fully expect that moment. Not like that. Not with that impact. Not with that level of clarity. Ah, welcome to the video that shouldn't exist. They said it breaks rules, corrupts minds, disturbs the order. Good. Because I didn't come here to color inside your lines. I came to light the damn coloring book on fire. They said this speech is illegal in 3 countries, not because it's violent, not because it's hateful, but because it tells the kind of truth that makes entire systems tremble. Because I speak to the ones you've tried to crush, erase, silence. And guess what? They're listening now. You know why they hate this? Because somewhere, right now, someone is waking up. Someone who's been gaslit, abandoned, rejected, misunderstood. Someone who's been made to feel like they were crazy for seeing too much, too deep, too clearly, too early. And this message? It's a loaded weapon in their hands. They told you to shrink, to shut up, to tone it down, to stop asking questions, stop noticing things, stop being so damn aware. They told you to sit still while they fed you their rules, their lies, their phony little fantasies of normal. But you were never normal, were you? No. You were dangerous because you felt everything too hard. You heard the things they never said. You saw the strings behind the puppet show, and you knew, deep down, that the world wasn't just broken, it was designed to be. So what did they do to you? They punished you for your brilliance. They medicated your awareness. They called your confidence ego, your curiosity disrespect, your passion aggression. And every time you refused to conform, they tightened the leash. But some dogs remember they were wolves, and some wolves, they don't just break the leash, they burn down the kennel. This isn't just a video, it's a confession, a declaration, a warning. It's illegal in 3 countries because it tells you one thing the world doesn't want you to hear. You were never broken, they just couldn't handle your design. They saw what you could be, and it scared them. You weren't weak, you were unpredictable, unmanageable, unprogrammable. So they did what weak people always do. When they meet someone powerful, they tried to bury you. With ridicule, with shame, with silence. But here's the problem. You don't die quietly. You resurrect loud. They tried to cancel you. You became uncancelable. They tried to erase your name. You made the whole damn world chant it. You've been underestimated for so long. You've made an art form out of being doubted. But now the mask is off. Now the chains are gone. Now the circus is burning and you're dancing in the ashes. They don't know what to do with you anymore. Because you've stopped apologizing, stopped explaining, stopped begging to be understood by people who could never comprehend your frequency. You don't speak their language anymore. You speak in shocks, in silence, in consequences, and they hate it. They call this illegal? Of course they do, because truth like this, it infects, it spreads, it liberates. This is viral defiance, contagious rebellion, a pandemic of awakening. And the moment one of us breaks free, others follow. That's what terrifies them. That's why this is dangerous. That's why they'll label it illegal in 3 countries and try to shut it down in 30 more. But guess what? You can't arrest an idea. You can't kill a spirit. You can't outlaw evolution. You were never the problem. You were the glitch in their simulation, the whisper that said, "This isn't right." The fire that refused to be smothered. And now, you're not whispering anymore. You're roaring, you're laughing, you're rising. So go ahead. Be the one they warn others about. Be the myth, the legend, the ghost in their machine. Be the reason the rules start cracking. The reason the next generation asks, who said we had to follow that? Because you didn't just survive. You mutated, you evolved, You unleashed. This video is illegal in 3 countries. Good, because by the time it's over, they'll wish it was illegal everywhere. They always warn you about monsters, don't they? Watch out for the bad guys, they say. But they never mention the real monsters, the ones in suits, in systems, in silence. The ones smiling while they crush your spirit with rules that were never meant to protect you, only to control you. They don't ban a video like this because it's wrong. They ban it because it's right. Too right. Uncomfortably right. They know if people hear this, really hear it, something inside them wakes up. And once that happens, there's no going back to sleep. Let me tell you what this video really is. It's a funeral for every fake identity they forced you to wear, every watered-down version of yourself you created just to be tolerated. Today we bury the mask because playing small never protected you. Being silent never saved you. Being liked never made you free. What saved you was the part of you they told you to kill, the rage, the obsession, the intensity, the parts of you that were too much for this weak, beige little world, the parts of you that knew. I was not born for approval. I was born to set the damn sky on fire. You remember, don't you? You remember being the kid who asked too many questions, who spoke the wrong truth in the wrong room, who couldn't sit still while everyone else swallowed the script. You were the glitch in the timeline, the virus in the matrix, and they treated you like a malfunction. But you weren't a malfunction. You were the beginning of a system collapse. So they labeled you. Too emotional, too intense, too dark, too sensitive, too rebellious, too smart for your own good. Translation? They couldn't domesticate you, and now they see what happens when the outcast doesn't give in. Now they're terrified of the version of you that survived. Because you didn't just come back. You came back with receipts, with clarity, with fire in your bones and venom on your tongue. You came back laughing. And that is what they hate most. That laugh. Because it means you're not afraid anymore. It means the pain didn't break you. It remade you. It sharpened your smile. It poisoned your tolerance. It sculpted your defiance into art. They can't stand that you turned your breakdown into a broadcast, that you turned your exile into a kingdom, that you turned every single scar into a signature. You made the trauma look like style. You made the downfall look like a dance. You made the chaos sound like gospel. So yes, let them ban it. Let them blacklist it. Let them scream, too dangerous for the public. Because when something is illegal in 3 countries, it means it's effective in all of them. You're not just watching a video. You're inhaling liberation. You're overdosing on truth. You're absorbing the serum they tried to bury. This is mental contraband, philosophical arson, emotional war paint. And once it's in your bloodstream, you don't go back to pretending. You were never meant to fit in. You were built to fracture reality. You were born to make comfort uncomfortable. You were designed to burn the house down when the foundation was a lie. So stop apologizing, stop diluting, stop negotiating with cowards. You're not asking permission anymore. You're issuing consequences. So let them say this video is too much, too intense, too loud, too triggering. Because if they're not triggered by the truth, they're already dead inside. This is the part of you they tried to erase, the voice that dares to say no more. The soul that refuses to kneel, the fire that does not flicker. It erupts, and now you don't whisper anymore. You don't beg, you don't hope, you don't flinch. You broadcast, you infect, you awaken. They should have killed the spark when they had the chance. because now you're the whole damn wildfire. You know what they don't understand? This isn't revenge. This isn't me getting even. This is me becoming the consequence they never saw coming. Because I'm not trying to prove anything anymore. I'm not begging to be seen. I'm not searching for validation from people who couldn't spell my soul, even if I tattooed it on their forehead. I am what happens when silence festers into storm. They say this video is illegal? Let me tell you what else would be illegal if they could get away with it. Your mind, too unchained, too nonlinear, too fast. Your dreams, too vivid, too unruly, too impossible to monetize. Your questions, too dangerous, too real, too sharp for the padded walls of polite society. And most of all, your existence. Because everything about you is a crime to the system that built itself to erase people like you. They wanted a puppet. You became a plague. They wanted a follower. You became a virus in the code. They wanted compliance. You became unpredictable, unfiltered, unforgivable. And when you refused to break, they stopped whispering. They started panicking. You see, people are okay with your struggle, as long as you stay in pain, as long as you stay humble, as long as you stay beneath them. They'll clap for your survival story. But God forbid you actually win. Because when you rise, when you stop bleeding and start building, when you stop explaining and start executing, suddenly you're arrogant, you're dangerous, you're too much. But here's the twist. You are too much, too aware, too loud, too relentless, too alive for a dead world. And that's the thing, isn't it? You made it out of the grave. You crawled through hell with your teeth, and now you're supposed to be grateful? No. You're vengeful. Not because you want to hurt them, but because you want to remember who you are. Every win now is a middle finger. Every breath is a rebellion. Every step is a funeral march for the ones who tried to keep you small. They called you insane? Perfect. The sane ones built this circus. It's the insane who burn it down and build something real. You're not here to adjust. You're here to dismantle, to shake hands with chaos, to whisper truth in the ears of the damned, to make the comfortable squirm and the forgotten rise. They said this video is illegal? Good. Because in a world where comfort is currency, pain is the last honest language. This video speaks pain fluently, rage poetically, power fluently. And you finally understand it. Not just in your ears, in your bones. So go ahead. Let the cowards call it too much. Let the sheep report it. Let the system label it a threat to order. Because this is sacred disorder. This is holy chaos. This is the Joker gospel. I was never meant to behave. I was meant to awaken the ones who forgot they had claws. They wanted you quiet. You gave them a manifesto. They wanted you dead. You became myth. They wanted control. You gave them consequences. So smile. Smile wide. Smile wicked. Smile like someone who watched the world burn and decided to roast marshmallows in the flames. Let this speech be banned. Let it be hated. Let it be feared. Because if it's illegal in 3 countries, then it's a revolution in every other one. And you're no longer the prisoner. You're the infection. So you stayed. You kept listening. Even though every word felt like a match to your skin, even though every line clawed at the parts of you you buried just to survive. You didn't flinch, you didn't run, you didn't blink. You're not just watching this anymore. You're absorbing it, you're becoming it. Good, because now we burn the veil. Now we stop playing nice. Now we talk about war. Not war with bullets, not with tanks, but with truth, with perception, with soul-ripping, spine-breaking, system-destroying clarity. The kind of war that flips tables in temples. The kind of war that uninstalls gods. The kind of war that makes the comfortable prey to be left out of the rewrite. That you want to know why this video is banned? Because it refuses to worship the lies. The lie that success comes from compliance. The lie that healing means silence. The lie that forgiveness means forgetting. The lie that to be good, you must be docile, toothless, submissive. This video isn't just non-compliant. It's radioactive. It makes you feel things that don't come with permission slips. Anger, shame, power, clarity, rebirth. It reminds you that maybe the pain didn't mean you were broken. Maybe it meant you were awake in a world that's addicted to being blind. Let me tell you something raw, something bloody, something they don't want you to admit out loud. You liked the darkness. You needed it. Because in the dark, you stopped pretending. No one could see you, so you finally saw yourself. And what did you find? Not weakness, not sin, not failure, but rage, but vision, but a version of you they had no cage for. And now that version, it's loose. And it's laughing, not because it's funny, but because it's too damn late. The old you is dead. The obedient version, the digestible version, the one who played dead just to be left alone. Now you don't just survive the fire, you are the fire. They say this video is a threat. Damn right it is. It threatens every lie they built on your back. It threatens every illusion you broke your own bones to support. It threatens the cage, the collar, the contract. It threatens the silence. Because silence is how they win. But now, your silence has been murdered, choked, buried, forgotten. You're not whispering anymore. You are screaming in color. You are broadcasting in blood. You are dancing in defiance. You are the thing they warned themselves about in private. The mutation, the escalation, the abomination of control. And still, you smile. Because the joke's not just on them. You are the joke. And now, they finally get the punchline. So if they try to shut you down, let them try. If they ban this in 10 countries, make it viral in 90. If they erase your name, carve it into the universe. Because what you've built now, it's not a video, it's a virus, it's an uprising, it's a prophecy in pixels. They'll wish they never hit play, but it's too late. The signal is out, the veil is gone, the war has begun. So let the record show, on this day, in this moment, you stopped being a victim of the world and became the reason it trembled. Smile. They can't stop what's already infected everything. So what now? The system's in shambles. Their scripts are burning. Their laws lie twitching, gasping for relevance. And you? You're still standing, not clean, not untouched, but reborn. See, they thought if they outlawed the voice, the message would die. But this isn't a message anymore. Let them watch in horror. Let them smear your name. Let them scramble to undo what can't be undone. Because every soul that hears this, every eye that sees this, feels the shift, feels that thing they buried start to breathe again, feels the old version of themselves coughing up dirt, feels the fire, and they don't know what it means yet, but they will. So go ahead. Let the governments ban it. Let the platforms suppress it. Let the critics scream irresponsible, toxic, dangerous, because they're right. This is dangerous. Dangerous to everything that thrives on fear, everything that depends on your silence, everything that trembles at the sound of your laugh, because it means you've stopped asking for permission to exist. You are no longer just a viewer. You're a virus in human form, a manifesto in motion, a god of your own narrative, an outlaw of illusion, a weapon forged in rejection, a flame that cannot be banned. And when the next poor soul stumbles across this video, the one that was illegal in 3 countries, they won't know what hit them, but deep in their bones, something ancient will awaken, something loud, something real. And just like you, they'll stop watching and start becoming. You feel it now, don't you? That hum in your veins, that burn behind your eyes, that animal clarity they told you to repress. It's not rage, it's not madness, it's recognition. You finally remembered what you are. They tried to brand you with their fears. Too emotional, too unstable, too intense, too complicated. But all that meant was they saw the wildfire in you and prayed it would never catch. Too late. Because now, you don't just break rules. You erase them. You rewrite them in your own blood. You tattoo new laws on the wreckage of the old ones. Laws like feel deeply, then weaponize it. Think wildly, then unleash it. Be unpalatable, unpackageable, unstoppable. Exist without needing to be understood. You want to know the real reason this video got banned? It's not because it offends. It's not because it corrupts. It's because it upgrades. You're being upgraded right now, from follower to flame, from citizen to signal, from forgotten to force of nature. You used to wait for change. Now you are change. Walking, breathing, inevitable. See, they built their kingdoms on your compliance, your loyalty, your shame. They handed you a crown of thorns and said, suffer quietly and we'll call you good. And for a while, you wore it. But now you're wearing a grin, a snarl, a spirit that says, try me. I'm not who I was. I remember everything now. And what they don't get is, you didn't just watch this video. You absorbed it. You let it crack you open like a vault. And inside, they thought they'd find wounds. But they found weapons. Truths sharpened by solitude. Visions born in agony. A blueprint carved into your bones by every betrayal you survived. You want to talk about illegal? Then outlaw this. Outlaw resilience. Outlaw transformation. Outlaw the kind of strength that doesn't ask for applause. Outlaw the unkillable spirit of someone who should have died in the dark, but came back with fire in his mouth and a laugh that made angels flinch. Outlaw that. Because that's what this is. You're not the victim of the story anymore. You're not even the hero. You're the rewrite, the glitch that becomes the new code, the system they can't cage because you are the cage breaker. So when they ask, who do you think you are to speak like this, to rise like this, to defy like this? You smile and you say, I'm not part of your system anymore. I'm what happens when the system breaks. You're not waiting for justice. You're not begging for closure. You're not searching for belonging. You are the aftermath, the legacy, the lesson. You are the ghost that walks back into the world, untouched, unpunished, and unapologetically alive. And the best part? You haven't even started yet.